is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fat Nassner Run-Throughs, and this time we are doing a new video that we will be doing for the channel. Top 5 worst / disappointing games of the year. So this one is 2017, because it's almost the end of 2017. This one, how many did you have for this? Because I couldn't come up with 10.
Well, here's the deal.
And I think it's easier to come up with 5 for this, because I don't want to just hate
This
them.
was super fast. It took me 10 minutes to make this list.
Did it really?
Because I knew 5 right off the bat.
Yeah,
there was a couple I thought about, but then I was like,
yeah,
this is it.
There was around 1 or 2 that I was like, yeah, I could go on this list, but there were, yeah, definitely a solid 5 that I was like, all right, now it's just in which order of how shitty they were.
Right.
For me. Now, obviously, completely subjective. I expect this game or this list to get a lot of hate, but that's fine, and because it's a fucking list of board games.
My number 5 will just get very pissed off. I know it will.
All right, so we are going to start off with number 5 for me, which is First Martians. First Martians is actually more of a disappointing game than it was worst. Although I will say the rule book was probably it would definitely skyrocket on top 10 worst rule books, because when you have to sit there and read the rule book like multiple times, do a test trial, then go and watch Rodney watch it play to just figure out how to play the goddamn game. It's like, Portal, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Is it a language barrier? I don't understand. So that already was awful.
Well, the thing that was bad about it too, not to interrupt you,
You're fine.
was that it was supposed to come out like 2 or 3 months earlier.
Oh,
but then
yeah.
Ignacy actually stopped to do more playtesting and more stuff with
Yeah.
that game. So it's like, what was he doing?
It's like, dude,
did it was worse?
Yeah, did it was worse?
I mean, I haven't played the game.
God.
I'm just going on what you said.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, you would think Robinson Crusoe in space is like, oh my god, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
No, because it wasn't really that. It was a bunch of just micromanaging your green cubes, trying to be like, oh no, this is not working now. And because I did a campaign, I did a series on the channel. We actually rushed it out. Because at first we were like, okay. Then it just went downhill from there. We're like, oh, who gives a shit anymore? This is some weak-ass fucking story. And then the actual mechanics of the game, like everything that happened was boring. Like, Robinson Crusoe has interesting choices that you're making. You're like, oh my god, do I want to do this or not? This is intense. And then it'll come back. It was app-driven, which I think because you're just kind of clicking through. Mm-hmm. So unlike whenever you have the deck of cards where you can slowly see it creep up, this one was just, all right, I guess this is happening. Not only that, they made your characters, like, how the hell they got sent to Mars in the first place. They were probably just hoping they would die up there. They were so dumb. Everything that, it was just bad things that just constantly happened. It was like, oh, I guarantee you this was one. Like, something malfunctioned, and the reason was, hey, I guess I forgot to save my data. I'm like, that's like, oh my god. So it was difficult just because they made everyone stupid. Now, what makes it not being worse, but more disappointing, was because I played one of those solo scenarios. And that was actually fun. Like, you had to build up greenhouses and stuff like that, and then, so you had to build those, and then, get crops up and running and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. But ultimately, it just fell really flat. Like, you would think Robinson Crusoe in space would be awesome. This was not awesome. And I actually just sold it because I was never going to play it again. If you're going to play a game like that, play Robinson Crusoe.
I actually was going to ask you if $28 shipped was okay to buy that game,
and I said no.
I was like, all right.
It wasn't. I didn't even give a reason. I was just like, no. You're like, cool.
That was a dirt cheap price. So
I mean, the game isn't really that expensive to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, online you can get it for like $40.
Yeah.
But dude, I know you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5.
All right.
It's only going downhill from
my
here.
number 5 is going to be, it's going to piss people off. This game is disappointing. It's not a bad game.
Okay.
It's disappointing.
Okay.
And good game, but there's one mechanic that just killed it for me.
Okay.
I anticipated playing this game almost more than any game this year. I played it a few times, and this mechanic kills it for me, at least for now, and that's Gloomhaven.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
And I'm hear me out. I love the idea of the game. I love how there's so much so much content. Everything about the game is wonderful, but I hate your deck and hand management stuff. I hate it.
That's the best part.
I hate it.
It's
Here's
awesome.
the deal.
That's Fireteam Zero. It does the same thing.
You don't trash it. That's not your timer though. So that's the thing. Like the person I've controlled each time has had a hand size or a deck of 10 cards.
Yeah.
So you have to play 2 cards every single turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 or 5 turns. Then you have to rest. So you have to trash a card.
You don't have to rest. You can choose to do a short rest at the end.
You still have to trash a card. It's at
One at random still.
Right, but you're still trashing 1 card regardless.
Yeah. That's thematic.
Stuff.
You're not God the entire
No, I know.
time.
I understand that, but what I'm meaning is like the 3 games I've played, we get to the final room, and then my character's dead before I even walk into the room. They're not dead. He's exhausted because I only have 1 card in my hand and I can't do an action.
Yeah, see, I don't understand.
And I'm just like, it's different from Fireteam because Fireteam you get to reshuffle your whole deck back in. It's still your life.
Yeah.
But you draw up new cards at the beginning of every turn, and you are not losing cards out of that deck. And
I don't know. Your hand is still your life, so if you take damage, you die, and then that's...
No, and that doesn't bug me. It's that your tiny little 10-card deck is depleting as you rest or quick rest or whatever. So you're...
I remember you had brought that up.
You're running out of time. You have to ditch a card, or you take enough damage, you're having to get rid of a card to not take all that massive damage,
awesome.
Which is good. But when you start out with 10 cards in your deck is all.
That's hand management, though. I don't know.
I
see where you're coming from as that being the timer, but personally, I think of it more thematically, where you're not this fucking brute running in, taking a shit ton of damage and fighting, and still going strong. Like you're physically, you're like, by the end of this, you're gonna be tired. And because I'm playing it solo, which may be different. I haven't ran into that.
Yeah,
I haven't ran into where
3 players.
They're exhausted
every time.
And solo you play with I control 2 people.
Right.
So
every game I've went into, like we've gotten to the last room and I only have 1 card.
Do you guys? Okay, so this was a mechanic in Gloomhaven that I wouldn't really call my favorite, but you know how you have like your secret objective.
Yeah.
For each person that you're you get you level up. It doesn't really
Right.
screw anyone over, but you also don't talk about what you're playing.
Right.
Do you play that way? To where you're like, oh yeah, I can do a lot of damage. You're very vague about it.
We don't tell each other what we're doing.
That's why I'm really liking it solo, because I get to control both of my people.
Right.
And I'm playing it with 2, so I have my 2 people. So I can coordinate way better than if I was going to do a massive attack on someone, but someone would ran up and killed me before I. So I'm like,
my thing was just kill 5 enemies or whatever is what mine seems to be most things. So it's like I didn't care. It was like it's just the fact that the 3 times I've played it, I haven't even got to enter in the last room because
I can see why that would.
And I'm always the big brute dude, the really big dude
Inox
with the horn. Yeah,
dude, he's awesome.
But he only has a 10 deck. You'd think he was would have a bigger deck maybe because he would be a tank absorbing damage. When the other guy that's a tiny little tinker has 10 or 11 cards in their deck.
Well, what it is because with the brute he has the shield to negate the damage, so you don't have to discard cards. Because I'm playing with him and the sorceress, and she has 9 cards.
Right.
And I thought that an even number would screw it, but it doesn't. Yeah. Because of the short rest and the long rest. But that's why the long rest is good, because you get to choose what's leaving.
Right. Exactly. I just don't like it, and we're going on it. But
right.
It's just the fact that if that was the mechanic they wanted to use, which is fine, getting rid of cards because you're shortchanging yourself, they need to make your starting decks a little bit bigger, 15 cards, 16 cards, just because I want to love the game, and it's a great game, but when I can't even get in there, I'm watching the last 2 guys finish the mission, it's
I can see why.
It's just discouraging.
Is it just because of that, because you haven't been able to participate?
Well, it's just because I'm just sitting there watching the last 2 or 3 rounds of the game. Because
the epic finale.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only disappointing part. It's a good game other than that, but that's why it falls in at 5.
All right. My number 4, I was hoping I'm still in the shot. My number 4, I actually got quite a bit of hate because I did a no run through review on this one. I've also done so I've done a run through for all. I have a video on all of these games, and my number 4 is actually more leaning towards worse than disappointing. That's Sword and Sorcery. So I know Sam Healy raves about this game. Just someone walks and shoots me.
Gloomhaven, Sword, Sorcery, daggers.
Look, okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to praise Sword and Sorcery for its AI. That was a brilliant way that, like, they figured out a way to make AI not be controlled by another person and actually be a smart AI. That's the only thing this game had going for it. That it was so bog standard and generic that you're sitting there like trying to go through this campaign making these piddly ass decisions of like, do I kill the Shadow Guild or do I go to the, it's like, okay, did they really sit down and just be like, let's just make up generic names and that's cool. There's a part in, I don't want to ruin the whole lot because it is gonna spoil it, but it's just like you're going through this campaign with your regular fucking character, and then the game was so much setup for so little payoff that the enemies were boring as well. The AI system worked really, really well, and I liked that. But the actual things you were fighting were just, it did the same the Galaxy Defenders did, where it's like, hey, we have actually, we're going to seem like we have a lot of enemies, but it's really just 3, different creatures, but they're just different levels. So you had the green, blue, and red.
Right.
So you have that, and I mean, one mechanic that was pretty cool was that if you died, you wouldn't die, because you're already undead. You become spirit, which you can still do actions, and if you go to like a shrine area, you come back. They did a really cool cooldown timer, so they had elements of the game that I liked, but that story was a fucking joke. Like, spoiler, there's a part where you go to fight this head of the Shadow Guild or whatever, and he's like, groomed, and then this guy walks and he's like, I am groomed, and I was like, I'm done, I'm done with this. Like, so boring, and like, it was just, we couldn't do it. Kat went through that scenario booklet, and she was just like, oh my god. I'm not gonna say any more spoilers, but
yeah,
it was like,
yeah, I've heard a lot of odd things about it too.
So I want to try Massive Darkness.
I think
Good,
you'll like it.
Because Sword and Sorcery just fell so flat, and yeah, I couldn't bring myself because we were going to do a campaign for it. I'm like, oh, this could be awesome. No, it felt cheap too.
Yeah.
Ares Games kind of makes cheaper feeling components, and yeah, so that's my number 4.
My number 4 is a game that, yeah, I know. This one people will agree with probably. We actually played this game last time we
You and I did?
together, yeah. I wanted to enjoy
really?
it. I wanted to enjoy it. I had my hopes up for it, thinking it was, because in the same world as one of my favorite top 5 games, Masmora.
Wow.
Dungeons of Arcadia.
Wow. I thought you said
and-
you liked it.
Well, I've been playing it more though. Like, I played it several times since we played it.
Just doesn't do it?
It just doesn't. I mean, I played it solo. I played it with, because there was a solo mode with it too, and I played it with the girls, and I just don't know. It's too samey, I guess. And it all comes down like our game did. It came down to, you had those treasure cards that gave you a bunch of stuff at the very end, and that's kind of that's pretty much what you're playing for.
Yep.
You're just racing around.
I had a feeling about that.
And then playing the deals, and
I knew that was kind of random. I mean, it's an Ameritrash game,
yeah.
So the treasure cards are going to be your source of randomness,
Right.
and you can steal them,
yeah,
I guess, from each other. But yeah,
it's just one of those things. It is in my collection solely because.
Arcade for the crossover.
And if that's what you have to say about a game, the only reason you're keeping for the minis for another game, then it's on this list.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I remember playing that, and at the end I was just like,
yeah,
all right. And you're like, well, I want to play it more, and I was like, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm like, that was kind of boring.
But there's a reason that you can get the whole Kickstarter copy of it for like $45 now.
Whew.
So
yeah,
it's not too.
Fall flat. Like, they should have just added more Arcadia Quest stuff instead of trying to.
Probably should have made it more expensive and put bad guy minis in instead of dice. And
that was really
dice
weird.
was kind of weird. I understand they were cutting costs and stuff and making it.
I mean, I guess that's if you're going to cut costs and do it that way. That's kind of a good way to do it.
But I mean, the dice had what four 4 or 5 different, well, 6 bad guys, but look at all their other games like Zombicide and stuff. I mean, they have shit tons of walkers. You know, why not just make a shit ton of goblins?
Right. I guess you should be glad that it's cheaper and you ended up not liking it.
Exactly.
All right. Number 3. I did do a run through for this one. Sword and Sorcery is a no run through review. Number 3 is Dark Souls. Man. So my bias actually doesn't come through on this one because I actually do like Dark Souls. I like Bloodborne better as a video game, but Dark Souls, like on Kickstarter, the miniatures look awesome. The component quality and everything for it is great. God damn, is it grindy as hell. Which someone, oh well, that's Dark Souls. I understand that, but the difference is in a video game when you're grinding, it's click bonfire, reset, just go ahead and fight. Okay, back. With a board game, it's okay. Let's go through all this. Okay, we're gonna have to go to the bonfire and reset it. All right, let's reset up this whole. It's a 10-minute process to do all that again, and then you just I guess I'm gonna go through this whole thing again. Okay, and like your character creation was all random. You just had a big stack of item cards that once you collected souls, which there was never enough of, you had to go back and spend them and just draw and hope you got something that you could use. And so you're just like, wow, I really hope that, I have the stats for this. And most of it was like, oh, hey, I have this huge great sword. Oh, but I need an intelligence of 30. Why? So half the time you're just drawing and putting in a stack that you can come back and play later.
Right.
So it was just, oh my God, that this is also more disappointing. Actually, there are, because what works really well is the boss encounters. The AI system for the boss encounter was really cool. They did that same thing where each boss has their own deck of what they'll do, and then once the deck runs out, you just flip it. And then, so like in the video game, they have a routine. Once you figure out the routine, then you can plan accordingly. You're like, oh, he's going to do this next. And then once they get to a certain health, they become enraged, like the video game, and then new cards come in. Right. And then you shuffle, now they change up. All I did for the run-through was I played the grind part myself and leveled up, and then I recorded the boss fights, the mini-boss and the main boss. Because that's really the strongest part of it.
Right.
I actually sold it all to a person. I can't remember, and I changed, the pledge manager and everything, so it's going to go to him. I traded for quite a bit of money, and he's also sending me a really expensive purse for Cat. So it just, oh man, I wanted to like it, and I played it with friends who played Dark Souls avidly, and they were like, this is not fun. And I'm like, yeah, it's really not. Once again, another video game to board game that just flopped. That's my number 3, Dark Souls.
My number 3 is gonna be another hate thing, I have a feeling.
7th Continent.
No, I it's a series of games. The very first one I ever played, we enjoyed. I played it with my kids.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And then I played another one, and then another one after that totally fell flat, so this is going to disappointing.
Okay.
Would be the Unlock.
Unlock, that's what I was wondering.
The first one I played the Squeak and Sausage, and with
that's
just,
a good one.
I think it's the iPads. Just me and the girls. Squeak and Sausage, we had a lot of fun with it. I don't know what happened.
I think it's because you were competing against me in my group.
I don't know.
Because they were like, we're going to beat him, and then you didn't.
And the other one, though, we did the Formula. Was the
that
first
one
we
sucked.
tried, and we just, it just fell. Because my wife joined us on that one, and it just sucked. And then we tried, I can't remember what the other one was we tried, but...
Did you do the Doctor, the Island one?
Where you had to split up.
You had to split up. Did you play it with even numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, at least you had that. I didn't.
But I just don't know, I mean, we were excited about being an escape room game, and the first one was so cool.
Yep.
But then it was just like the rest of them just sucked.
That Squeak and Sausage one was really good. It was very
thematic. I think it was a good first one for
It's also the easiest one out of the 3.
And then the other
Formula was 2. I mean, you had to be like autistic. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. How do you even think like that? And so that one sucked. And then the Island one was really hard, but it did that. We're spoiling a little bit here for the Island one, but you had to split up, which that's why it says, hey, you need. The other ones say 1 to 5 or 1 to 8 or
Right,
whatever.
right.
That one says 2 to whatever.
Right.
I've done another one out of the new trilogy that came out. That one fell flat too.
Yeah.
It was Nautilus's Trap.
So, yeah.
So,
So I, it was one of those things. After playing the first one, I was really hyped on them, wanted to play them all, and then they just sucked.
They
after
just sucked
that.
after that,
And
yep.
So it's a disappointment. They're
Yeah.
not bad games. I think if the
Yeah.
right group played them,
depending
it
on
would
the group.
be fine. But
If you want to really feel like an authentic escape room, get the exit ones.
That's
Those
what
are
I've
those
heard.
are difficult, but
Yeah.
they're all riddles pretty much,
Yeah.
which is like an escape room. Unlock is kind of doing that, but I don't know. I've done 3 exits as well, and only 1 out of the 3 fell flat. The other 2 were a lot of fun.
We're going when we go to our vacation next summer. We're going to go we're staying in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and going to New Mexico escape rooms. It's supposed to be one of the best ones in the country.
Cool.
So we're gonna give that a shot. But anyway,
Awesome.
that's my number 3.
My number 2 is a game that is also a video game to a board game called Fallout. Fallout. I have a feeling you expect that to be number 1. There's worse
I figured it
games
was
out
gonna be
there.
on the list.
Huh?
But I figured it was gonna be on
Oh
the
yeah,
list.
I tried to not tell you because I was like, I want that to be a surprise. Fallout, just oh my god, like this is worst. This is the worst. I've done a run through for this one and a discussion, but ultimately what it came down to is this was meant to be a solo game. Why the hell even offer it as, hey, it's semi-cooperative, which I can't stand, first of all, because Runebound 3rd Edition did the same thing where it's like, hey, you all don't work together, but if you don't, then you all lose, but only one of you can win. I can't stand that anyway. So what I really hated is that you have these quests that will pop up. If you do one, then you add another card, and then more quests pop up like in the video game. But the problem is I fulfill a quest, then a new one comes out. Someone can just run up and do that one, and it's like, but why? Like, why do you share quests? Why the hell are there those stupid? Like, I've seen this more complaints is the winning condition where there's 2 factions always vying, and a lot of the cards in that freaking alliance, agenda deck, thank you, to where is like, I swear, each time I played, I got the one that was not doing well. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to push them up anymore, because then they'll go to the fight and we all lose. So it's like, oh, look, my hand of 4 cards is for the wrong faction, so I have 0 influence. Why the hell am I even playing? I guess I'll throw the game so we all lose. I did like the combat. Like, I actually really liked that VATS system. But the combat was, boring for me as well. It was just, oh, look, at that same creature, because there was only a certain number of... Like, the Deathclaw you would expect to be super tough. It was just a 3.
The toughest one I always thought was the
Super Mutant?
no,
That was one.
the glowing one where you had to hit him twice in headshots.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was just one.
Yep.
There's one side that
Yep.
had headshot.
So, there was that, like, that was pretty much the only thing I really liked. Everything, and then, because the first time we played it, we're like, oh, no, this is a lot of fun, but it was only because all those quests were new, and then we played it again, and you started with the same quest. So it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I know what result that's going to get me, so I'm going to do that. Or I'm not going to do that one because it's going to do this.
My biggest complaint about that game would be, because you have your big decks that are the story,
Yep.
and then you have your little, what they call them, encounter decks,
Yeah.
that are just like maybe, 10 cards?
Right.
7, 8, 9, 10
Yeah.
cards. Those don't change. That's all you have for those. So those start repeating a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
I wish they would have come out with like 2 or 3 times more of those, and that would have made it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because we played a 4-player game of this at Chad's house, and we didn't finish it. But it was like, it was just brutal.
Was it?
I mean, just because, we knew, because we were going through, because we were trying to, we had there was a part of the story card was in one of the decks.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff, so we were just constantly
Going through
doing
it.
encounters and
Yeah.
stuff, so we were hitting the same thing
Yep.
just over and over and
Yep.
over and over again.
I think first game you're going to have fun, then it gets old immediately.
Playing it with 2 was fine, though,
Is it?
when I played it here.
Okay.
Because we just went our separate ways
Yeah.
and stuff. And
But you're still sharing
and-
those stupid
No, I
quests.
know,
I don't get
but
it.
it's...
That's why whenever I first told you, I was like, play it solo because it's
Yeah.
probably a good game
Yeah.
solo.
Yep.
Other than that, like I literally like nothing else about it. The rolling the vats was pretty cool, but then even that was boring after a while. So that's why it's my number 2, Fallout.
My number 2 is loosely based on a video game. I'm surprised it's not on your list. And to be honest with you, I can't really say a whole lot about the game because I played it a few times and then got rid of it. And it was Tiny Epic Quest.
Loosely based off Legend of Zelda. Is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
That's why, because it's Legend of Zelda, and I can't I can't talk ill.
I'm trying to remember parts of this game. It was so forgettable.
You got my copy, right?
Because I got it from you, and then I sold it shortly after. It was just crap.
I told you. It was just. Oh yeah, that's probably why, because it was so forgettable.
The coolest part of that game was putting the swords and shields and crap on your meeples.
The item meeples.
That was the coolest part, but I mean the rest of it you just burned and kept the meeples for other games because
those were, and they're starting to use that more now in other games.
I did not like that game at all.
Yeah, there was just something about that was also kind of a push your luck aspect where you didn't even really have to push your luck a whole lot.
Right.
You just got everyone else just had to do bad, and then you reap the benefits from it. And then really not a whole lot of player interaction. There was really like going through the temples, which are just, it was just a cheap rip-off of Legend of Zelda. That's how you got those. But it was like, if people rolled dice, you benefited from their dice. So it's like, oh hey, thanks for rolling all my stuff that I needed. So it was on the potential list, but yeah, these 5 were. I think I would rather play Tiny Epic Quest than any of these.
There's only one Tiny Epic game that's worth playing to me anymore, and that's Galaxies.
That's the space one. I think that's their strongest one.
That's the best one.
I just don't. That game would have benefited greatly if it was a big box game. Tiny Epic Quest. But
anyway,
Tiny Epic.
That's my number 2.
All right. Would you be able to guess my number 1?
Did Soul of the Giants come out in 2017?
Yes, it did. Is that it? That is my number 1. Yep. That's because I thought, for some reason, I thought it was 2016.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was.
Once I looked up on Board Game Geek, I was like, 2017, number 1.
Yeah.
I've done a no run-through review. A lot of people gave me crap on that because they're like, you really hate it that much that you're sitting there talking about for 45 minutes. You said you shouldn't even give it the time of day. I'm like, that's true. I'm kind of contradicting myself there, but that game is so shitty.
It's a public service announcement.
I'm like, please.
Don't get it.
Please, if you love yourself, don't play this game. Okay, main bullet points. Production quality is garbage. So the components, the cards are cheap, the miniatures are cheap, the inlay is cheap, the tokens are cheap, the cardboard is cheap. They have a shit ton of tokens and cards, no way to store them, because the only inlay in that is to hold the giant miniatures. And they're like, oh, what, they're big. Well, they look like shit too. So there's that. Then you have generic-ass gameplay to where you're just kind of moving your lame tokens, because you only have your main giant leader is the miniature. You don't have other miniatures. They're tokens that you put there, and you're like, all right, I guess I'm there now. So there was already that, and you're trying to collect sets of items like gems to do other things later. And I just remember playing this game, and John and I were just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And only game, I guess technically I'm being a little bit more mean than I really should be, because this is the only game I've ever given a 1 out of 10. Technically, I should reserve 1s for games that don't even function, but I think I justify it because it's 2017. The games that are coming out now, there's, especially by Wizards of the Coast, it's like, really?
Yeah.
You guys are not short on money. Unless you are, then good. Go out of business for making that shit game. But it's like you had no excuse to make it that cheap.
Yeah.
You just knew people were going to flock towards it.
Well, at least you didn't buy the painted deluxe edition and wasted no money. That sucked.
That is true. Oh man, I would have been so mad. Because they weren't even warranted to be painted. Like, I was able to sit there and break the arm off just with any, like, I'm just like, oh, look at that. It's off now. Oh my God, watch my no run-through review of it just, and then go find every copy and burn them, because it was the worst game of this year by far.
All right, have a guess? Mine is, I'll classify it as disappointing.
That's disappointing?
Yes, that'd be a number one. Disappointment.
I'm trying to think of all the games that came out this year. I know you didn't play Near and Far?
Yep.
Yeah!
Yes, there you go. Above and Below, like we talked about in a video prior to this, was such a great game. And then when Near and Far Kickstarter came out, I mean, there was the hype
like a
train on
no-brainer.
it.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
well, hell, it's Above and Below sequel, technically, kind of sequel.
Yeah.
It was like, this is perfect, metal coins, badass, storytelling, all this stuff, even expansions for Above and Below. And the best thing of that game was the expansion for Above and Below.
Yeah.
Not that it, I mean, the story stuff was fine,
It's really well written.
It is, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it multiple times, the way the game ends and stuff like that. It's just
it becomes less about the expert. Like Above and Below was about building your little town,
Yeah, this is just a
but
race
also
to
about
get tents
exploring. But then, and then Near and Far was the race to get tents out and hopefully get near, trade routes.
Right.
It no longer became about the nice storytelling and the side quests and the keywords. It was more, how quickly can I end this game?
Right, and that's it was just like that. I mean, you didn't get to enjoy the story of the game because you were feeling rushed. Because if somebody's going out there just popping tents, it's like, well, I have to go out and do it too.
Yep.
And then it's just like it just kills the entire thing.
Yep.
And it was just a big disappointment all around.
Yep.
Enough that I got rid of the game, except for the Above and Below expansion.
Right.
Kept that
I was actually I was trying to sell. I still haven't been able to pull the trigger on selling it because, like I said, that first game was awesome.
Denton's brother brought it off me for like $80.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna sell it, and that's what I was putting it out for. But then everyone's like, "Well, is it coming with the Above?" If people are asking more about, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
what about the Above? And I'm like, "No, it doesn't come with that." And they're like, "All right, never mind." It's like, well, okay. Yeah. I think were all 5 of your games just disappointing? Because I had disappointing as First Martians. Worst.
Mass Mora was kind of a mix.
Okay.
And then Tiny Epic Quest was bad.
Okay. So yeah, I had First Martians as disappointing, Sword and Sworcery as worst, Dark Souls as disappointing, Fallout as worst, and so most of mine were worst.
Yeah.
But that's it, everyone. That is our top 5 of worst/disappointing games of 2017. Let us know what your games were in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you want to support us, you can go ahead and click that link to go to my Patreon account. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below to go to my Board Game Geek list. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.